I want to talk about head covering and modesty, why I see it as such an important thing. No, it's not a salvation issue. However, you know, how we dress speaks volumes about us. And I was just listening to a sermon or talk that a woman was giving. She was quoting Ellen G. White, which, I'm not a Seventh-day Adventist. But to me, part of the quote that was interesting was about the way we dress being a sermon. How we dress, how we conduct ourselves in public, how we conduct ourselves toward people is a sermon. We can wear the seats, we could wear the tallits and all this kind of stuff. We can have a beard, and those are good things, or can be good things. But how we behave is a sermon beyond anything. It's like one of the things of your action speaks so loud I can't hear your words. Are we doing that with the way we do things? I know for me personally, as far as someone, if I were going to pursue someone, or just in general, women that wear skirts and dresses and perhaps even a head covering, to me those women are of more interest because I'm interested in the spirit behind why they do what they're doing. If they're dressing modesty as a lifestyle, and modesty as a lifestyle, that is interesting to me because of the spirit behind it. And, it takes certain people to, it takes a certain humility to do those things. And one of the things I was going to read is Isaiah 47, verse 2. It says, "Take the millstone and grind meal. Remove your veil, strip off your skirt, uncover the leg, cross the rivers. Your nakedness will be uncovered, your shame will be exposed. I will take vengeance and will not spare a man. Our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, is his name, the Holy One of Israel." Which obviously is talking about Yeshua, but the whole veil. Why strip off the veil? Why remove the veil? What veil are they talking about? Strip off the skirt. Well, why would they take off their skirt? Things like that. But one of the things that also struck me in this video I watched just a few minutes ago was in Genesis, when man fell, in Genesis 3, verse 10, it says, he said, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?" And it goes on there. And of course Eve blames the serpent. Adam blames the woman, and Eve blames the serpent. But let's go back to verse 7 of Genesis 3, or even let's do verse 6. "When the woman saw that the fruit was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes," the lust of the eyes, that should ring a bell with the lust of the eyes struggle that we all face. and that the tree was desirable to make one wise, she took from its fruit and ate, and gave also to her husband with her, and he ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewn fig leaves together, and made themselves loin coverings. They heard the Son of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his wife had hid themselves from the presence of the Lord among the trees of the garden. And, so we see there too, they knew that that was the first time anyone realized they were naked, was at the sin of Adam and Eve. It's really rather interesting. Why did that matter? And it talks about, do not uncover the nakedness of your brother, your sister, or whatever, in Genesis, which may mean something a little different. But, how we dress is a sermon in and of itself. How we act is a sermon in and of itself. And for me, why head covering is so important. I see head covering as a physical sign of a spiritual protection. Because a woman that has a heart to embrace head covering has a heart that Yah delights in and would protect more so than others, perhaps. And head covering was common until about 100 years ago, until after the suffrage movement and the different feminist movements and that kind of stuff. Head covering was around for thousands of years. It was a custom all around all over. And, in the desert, men would cover too, just not in prayer. Like Paul talks about, not in prayer. And I'm not going to judge people for doing things, but to me it's a discernment thing. The spirit, where a woman chooses to dress modestly, wear long skirts and long dresses, she commands respect. Hopefully it makes her feel more comfortable. And it doesn't put pressure on her diaphragm or on her stomach, as far as digestion, which is one of the reasons why I kind of like the tunic, because I don't like pants. Especially as someone who rides bike, I don't like that stuff. But just, realize how you dress, how you act, is a sermon in and of itself. Paul talks about we are the only letter some people will ever read. So take these things into account. Let's take these things into account. This means nothing. This beard means nothing if I don't behave according to the dictates of Yahweh. This talit means nothing if I don't behave in the ways of Yahweh. Any of those, tzitzits. And tzitzits are helpful. Tzitzits were life-changing for me. That's one of the reasons I believe so strongly in head covering. And I've watched interviews of women that embrace head covering, and they're more aware of their behavior. So it has other aspects to it. So shalom, shalom, and may Yahweh bless and keep you and make his face shine upon you, be gracious unto you, and give you peace.